Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Serena WW, and today we are going to be talking about breach of contract. Okay, so guys, we're going to be talking about breach of contract like I mentioned earlier. And before we get into breach of contract, we'll know what a contract is, elements of a valid contract. Then also we'll know when a contract is said to be formed. We'll talk about consideration, and also we'll talk about the contents of a contract. Then after talking about the contents of the contract, we'll talk about capacity, and we'll talk about vitiating elements of the contract. And we'll talk about privity of contract, discharge of contract, and remedies of breach of contract. So let's get straight into the video. What is contract? First of all, contract is a legal arrangement between two or more people, and this contract can be formed with the intent of creating legal relations between two or more persons with an intent to buy or sell, and beyond buying and selling, with an intent to provide services, and it can be perfected by using consideration. Consideration meaning money or money's worth. So that is basically what contract is. It is necessary to create a legal relation between two parties, and for you to be able to create legal relation between these two parties, there must be terms and conditions that bind the contract arrangement, and also there must be an important element, the meeting of the mind, which is the consensus agreement. So now let's move into the elements of a valid contract. Elements of a valid contract involve offer, acceptance, consideration, intention to create legal relation, capacity. Contract must not be contrary to public policy. The contract must not be contrary to public policy. The contract must be one that is written if it's not an oral contract. So that is the element of a valid contract. Now, what is offer? Offer is like an intention to create a contract. For instance, you want to sell something to someone, you are making an offer, and the person accepts. That is acceptance. But then an invitation to treat is not an offer. For instance, displaying an item on a counter, it is not an offer, it is an invitation to treat. That is an invitation to come and buy, but an offer has not been created. When you take that product to the counter, that is when you are creating an offer. That is your intention to be able to buy and sell, and then a contract is formed. For instance, delivery of a good, you have purchased a good, you have paid money for the goods. Paying money is consideration. For instance, let's say you pay money for a particular product, that means you are giving, that is what consideration is called. And consideration is money or money's worth. So it doesn't have to be legal tender, it can be money's worth. So then what is capacity? Capacity basically has to do with the age for contracts, and in Nigeria the legal age to establish a contract or to enter into a contract is 21 years old. So if you are 18 years and you are entering into a contract, you are underage. Actually, you are a minor. And also there are certain category of people that are not allowed to enter into a contract. Illiterate people. And if illiterate persons want to enter into a contract, they must be given an illiterate draft alongside the contract. Persons of unsound mind, if the person of unsound mind wants to enter into a contract, there's an exception which creates that the person must form that contract during his lucid moment. That means when he is sane and sound. Then also there is also that of minors, when minors want to form a contract and they are not allowed, but then there are exceptional grounds which you could do more research on. So now let's move into the vitiating elements of a contract. Means things that can consider a contract to be breached. What can lead to a breach of contract? Things that can happen that we can see that it is a breach of contract. So first of all, mistake can actually breach a contract. Is when there is misrepresentation. That means misrepresentations of parties are not identified. When there is also undue influence or duress, when there is any form of inequality of bargain, when there are illegal, when the contracts are void or illegal, those are contracts that are not acceptable and are contrary to public policy, and also contracts that are void at the instance of common law, contracts that are sexual, that has to do with sexual immorality, contracts that are in restrict of trade, and the like. So those are the breaching elements of the contract. So if someone mistakenly changes your product, the person has breached the contract. But there's something called privity of contract. That means if you are not a party to a contract, you cannot be entitled to anything. Like, for instance, you cannot be entitled to any benefits from the contract. However, there are some exceptions to the doctrine of privity of contract, which we will not talk about today. So now, what is the remedies for the breach of contract? The remedies for a contract that is breached are damages. You are entitled to damages. So that's you are entitled to specific performance in the sense that the court will order that person do that particular thing that is ought to do that he did not do. So the court will give an order, the court order that this person should carry out this contract that is meant to carry out, which he did not carry out. Then damages actually has to do with like monetary compensation that is given to the affected party. Also, we have injunctions. Injunction is just basically a court order to actually stop a person from doing a particular act. So the court will actually restrain any person from doing a particular act. But the difference between injunction and specific performance is that specific performance is saying do this thing like this, but injunction is saying stop, don't do this, don't do it. So that is what it's all about. So thank you so much for watching today's video. If you know that anyone has breached the contract, those are the things you are entitled to.